I have never not had clients. And that's a beautiful way of putting it. I remember like Sunday evenings be like, tomorrow's Monday and I have to work, or I've gotta go to work. That does not exist in my life. If it doesn't call me, if it doesn't excite me, I don't even pay attention to it. I'm not a millionaire, but I feel like I live a millionaire lifestyle now because I think it's luxurious to have a massage on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. I do miracles, is what I jokingly say. And people are like, wait, what? Who are you? Like, and I thought to myself, well, I want to help make this world a better place. Hey, so my name is Olivia Mercado. I'm from Bolivia. I've been traveling the world now for 13 plus years, and we are now in Buenos Aires.
And would you consider yourself a digital nomad?
A wanderluster, I would say. An explorer, a traveler for sure, not so much a tourist. Digital nomad, not as much, although I'm exploring that as well. I'm a slow traveler, I would say.
And you work fully remote?
Yes and no. So I have been based in Bolivia, which is my home country now, for almost 3 years. And when people, my clients, I do shadow work and therapy, online therapy. But when I have the chance to work with someone face to face and they request it, then I extend that option.
What do you do for a living to sustain this lifestyle?
I do miracles, is what I jokingly say. And people are like, wait, what? Who are you? Like, atrevida. I do shadow work. And so this is holistic therapies. And it has a lot to do with mindfulness and the different disciplines that I've been learning throughout the years. So to put it in short, I help people live their best lives through practical tools for our modern day life.
And how long have you been doing that?
5 years almost. Specifically coaching and fully, like full-time coaching for 5 years. I've been studying all of this for like decades.
What does it take to do what you do? How did you...
It takes passion. It takes a lot of gut and grit and learning and training and being curious and open-minded, because I consider myself as I'm always evolving and learning. And the more, because I consider myself to be the tool through which people receive medicine for their lives, then the better, the sharper the tool is, the better service I can provide. So I'm forever learning. Yeah.
And what kind of training is required to?
I can speak for myself. In my case, my first training has been in yoga, and then so I've done 3 different teacher trainings in yoga. Most people do just one, the teacher training, the 200 hours, and I've done 3 of those. Well, 2 200s and 1 500. So at advanced yoga teacher training, I've done tantra, which helps you learn about polarities and energy work, the masculine and feminine. I've studied hypnotherapy to dive deep into the subconscious mind. I've also learned NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, Reiki, which is how to manage and handle energy. So it's very different disciplines that all make up the toolkit from which I draw whatever tool is needed for a specific purpose for a specific client.
So it sounds like it's a combination of all these different, what would you call them? Different...
ancient techniques and wisdom, truly is what it is. Because it's been forever, you know, the yogis, the Vedas, Chinese medicine has been forever there. So it's just how do we adapt it, and something that, you know, at some point was thought to be obsolete. How can we apply that to modern day life? You know, because we live in stress. We are constantly, we're neurotic people. Constantly, like, we gotta do more, and hustle mindset and all this. So eventually it catches up and your body lets you know.
And what's your story? What made you want to get into this?
Being an empath definitely it's a blessing and it's a curse. Since I can remember, since I was little, I could feel and tap into people's energy fields and emotions very easily. And I didn't know that this was a gift until later, because sometimes I would just know, like, why is this person angry? And you would see, like, poker face, like, what do you mean that person's angry? I'm like, well, they're angry, or they're sad, or they're frustrated. And so that skill or that talent, a God-given talent, I suppose, I expanded later on in life. And I thought to myself, well, I want to help make this world a better place. And how can I do that? So the first step was to work on myself. So my life story is a little bit tense and dense in moments and in parts, through even my childhood and so forth. So everything that I do teach and help people with are things that I've been through, like toxic relationships, like understanding family dynamics, like coming from a home where there's 7 of us siblings, and so it's like 3 different mothers. Like, how do we work through all of this, and how do we integrate all of that so that we are at peace and live in a harmonious way with everyone around you?
And what did you do before this? What was your...
I was an art teacher. I studied graphic design in Bolivia, and then I got a master's in education. And that led me to teaching art first in Bolivia, and then I left and did that for some years in Vietnam and then Malaysia. And then in Malaysia, I decided I don't want my time to be fully owned by someone else. So I learned, I believe in synchronicities, and I met this guy from Brazil who told me, hey, you would totally fit at this place called Mind Valley. And I'm like, what is Mind Valley? So I went home that night. I remember it was late, midnight, and I Googled mindvalley.com, and I was like, whoa, I need to work here. And that's exactly how it happened. And the shift from being a teacher and working from, 8 a.m. till 4 or 5 p.m. and then having grading to do at work and at home and such, shifted very much so to a more flexible schedule where people just care that you do your job. They don't care if you work at what time or how you work, as long as you self-manage and you complete your tasks, right? So that was a big shift for me from teaching to Mind Valley. And then after that, I was like, well, I don't want to do marketing. I want to be the facilitator of all of this knowledge and healing, like the teachers for whom I, worked and had to look at their marketing strategies and all of this. So I was kind of the behind the scenes learning and acquiring all these tools that I now use for my own business through Mind Valley. And I didn't know it back then. So it's really been one thing has led to another. And then when COVID hit, I was in Malaysia, and I always say, I feel like the universe invited me. It was it gave me a kick in the butt. It was you're so ready. You're more than ready to start doing this. And so my first client actually came to me, and she said, I want you to train me. I want you to be my coach. And I was like, me? Why me? And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity. And I had just finished my job with Mind Valley, and so I had the time to spare, and I was curious, and I felt the calling to be of service. When I started working with her, she was in Switzerland. She's from Ukraine. I was in Malaysia. Our schedules were all over the place. And it was great because I loved it, and I never stopped. I started, and I was like, something clicked, and I knew this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. In my pajamas, preferably.
Wow. Going back to today and living and working in your pajamas, what do you love most about this lifestyle?
First, it's the passion that, I know people, and through my time as well, I remember Sunday evenings be tomorrow's Monday and I have to work, or I've got to go to work. That does not exist in my life. If it doesn't call me, if it doesn't excite me, I don't even pay attention to it. And I absolutely love talking and seeing and having sessions with each and every one of my clients. I know, oh my God, today I'm going to see Maria, and I'm excited because I know exactly where we left off the last session. And I can see the progression as well of how their lives change. And so that gives me a huge sense of what's the word? Just fulfillment. So that, I would say, fulfillment is the greatest gift from doing what I do.
Amazing. What does a typical day look like for you? If there is one, maybe there's just an ideal day. What does your ideal day look like?
My ideal day is coaching 3 clients max, because it's an hour and a half per client, so 90 minutes each online mostly. And I've done days where I've had 4, and my body has told me, no, 4 is too much, too many clients. So 3 of coaching, and maybe 1 of one-on-one yoga, because I also love to initiate people into the world of yoga. And people do call me and ask, hey, can you train me? Or, I want to deepen my practice, or I want to understand yoga, or simply just I have pain and I don't want to feel pain, or I want to be more flexible. So having that combination of a lot of energy, emotional and mental work, and also some movement and fun and the physical dimension is my favorite or my ideal day.
And how many hours would you say you work a week on average?
Oof, a week. Oh my gosh. So if it's 3 clients per day, I work Monday through Friday because I also gift myself the weekends. I do not work the weekends. So that's 3 clients. So that's 4.5 hours per day times 5. You do the math.
How much does it cost you to live this lifestyle?
Well, so here's the thing. It fluctuates depending on where I'm based in. For example, if I compare now Buenos Aires to my city, Santa Cruz is more expensive now. So I would say on average anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 USD for housing and food and going out and having fun. And like truly, I feel very abundant. I'm not a millionaire, but I feel like I live a millionaire lifestyle.
And if you don't mind sharing, you can give a ballpark if you'd like. How much do you bring in a month on average?
Well, enough to live this lifestyle. Yeah, so it fluctuates as well because there are months where I have like 3 clients come in all at once. And there are months where I have no clients. And my program lasts 4 months. So even if a client pays me upfront for the whole program, I still have to make it so that it's the 4 months, right? So, and I've learned to trust the universe. And it's so magical. Truly, I can tell you that I have never not had clients. And that's a beautiful way of putting it. Like it's just the flow of abundance is always happening. So yeah, what I can say is now with what I do, I have more savings, including all the lifestyle and all the expenses and all the travels and all the luxuries that I have, because I think it's luxurious to have a massage on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. and it's like beautiful, or go get my nails done or like whatever. And yeah, so it's beautiful. It's just flowing.
Amazing. How do you usually find your clients?
Oh, they find me. Yeah, I have an agreement with whatever, call it divinity, God, the universe. And when I designed, and this is what I also teach my clients, is we are the architects of our lives. And it's not like we need to, it's a very different mindset the way that I work, because most times people think I need to make things happen, right? And there's an aspect of making things happen where it's just showing up and giving it your best. And at the same time, when you know how to work the tools that I give my clients, you shift the paradigm where your energetic offering becomes what is matched by the universe. So when I was negotiating this or designing this lifestyle, I thought, well, I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to have to wear a uniform to work. I don't want to have to commute to work. And I also don't want to have to like pay for marketing, or because I didn't want to do marketing. So then my agreement was, when the person who is ready for the medicine that through me moves, that person will find me and come and knock at my door, or find me on social media, or come through some other client, a referral client. And that's how they find me. They come to me and they're like, whoa, I saw this video of yours, or someone told me about this or that. And it's the thing that I do is an intro session. And then that's where we get a feel for each other's energy and whether I'm the person that you want to work with, and whether I want to work with you as well. And if it's a match, then great, we get to work.
How often do you eat out as a digital nomad?
Well, when I am traveling, and I'm thinking of now specifically in Argentina and Buenos Aires, I've been eating out a lot because I find it, I'm a tourist woman, so I find it's part of my experience to also explore different flavors and restaurants and traditional cuisine of like the local food. So I've been eating out quite a lot. But when I am home, when I'm in Bolivia, and it's like we have a maid, I told you I feel like I'm a millionaire, but I live this lifestyle, and she cooks for us mostly vegetarian food, and yeah, and I like it too because it's healthy, it's balanced, it's a lot of greens and veggies. Whereas here, for example, it might be more empanadas and steak and wine, and the diet changes. So, but I do eat out a lot when I travel because it's part of the experience for me.
Totally agree. What's the hardest part about living this lifestyle?
SIM cards. The logistics. I think that can be exhausting because it's figuring out new systems. Right now, for example, me being here, I don't have an Argentinian bank account. So if people come to me and they want to pay me in their local currency, well, they'll have to give me cash, or we have to figure out some sort of way. Western Union always works, and different systems that as a Bolivian as well, it don't work for me, such as Stripe or PayPal or Venmo or Payoneer, or things that people are like, oh, do you do this? Do you use this? And I'm like, sadly, no, sadly, no, sadly, no. So that is a workaround every single time, and it challenges me to figure out a way every single time.
You can't use PayPal in Bolivia?
Right? Exactly.
Really?
That's my point. People be like, wait, what? Yes. And I still manage to live like a queen. So I am blessed.
You get the money somehow.
Yeah.
What are your 3 favorite experiences or places that you've been to or done?
Oof. So 10 years in Southeast Asia were a blessing in my life. It truly transformed who I was, or who I was. I'm no longer the person who left Bolivia when I was 27. I'm 40 now. I've completely changed. But inside, outside, like, people look at me and they're like, my God, if you see pictures of me when I was 26 compared to now, it's like, is that your mom? It's like, no, that was me when I was 26. So I've changed so much. Malaysia was the first place where I felt like the first home where I felt I could explore who I am without the notion of what society wants me to be, or my parents want me to be, or my partner wants me to be. It was my first stepping into individuality, I would say. So it has a very dear place in my heart, is Kuala Lumpur specifically. And then Bali, and Ubud specifically in Bali as well, has been a crib for me of just magic and depth and transformation and connection with other humans, but more so, and especially with myself. So yeah, Malaysia and Bali, and then Turkey. I mean, Turkey was just architecture and flavors and smells and cats, and just such a place that I would have never ever thought that I would live there. And yeah, like, Turkey is also special.
How long did you live in Turkey?
8 months.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a slow traveler. A month is like, it just goes by like that. It's 2 months is still not enough time to explore so much of a city, not to mention a whole country.
Yeah.
So
It's funny how the longer you travel, the longer the minimum time you can stay in a place is, right?
yeah, absolutely.
I used to go to a city for one day, go to another city another day, but now I can't stay less than a week.
It's
Now
exhausting.
even a month is too short.
It's exhausting, and all you get essentially is you get glimpses of a place. So for me, being specifically in Turkey, I stayed for 6 months in Istanbul, and then I thought to myself, well, I'm very comfortable. I know people around the neighborhood love me. They know me. It's like, Olivia, blah, blah, blah. And I love this feeling of familiarity. Like, you go to a place, and I know that if I were to go back and visit Istanbul, I would absolutely go to, this place and that place because they know me. And so we create that bond, that connection. That to me is sacred. And it was 6 months there, and then I thought to myself, well, I can't say that I've lived in Turkey if I only stayed in Istanbul. So I made myself, on purpose, uncomfortable by moving to Izmir, because I had everything set up in Istanbul, and I'm like, I am too comfortable here. I need to expand. So I moved to Izmir, had to figure things out all over again, and it was expansive, and it was beautiful, and I made friends there as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Where are you going next? What are your travel plans currently?
So I'm loving it here. I do know that it gets cold eventually, and I don't quite prefer the cold. And a place that has always called me, and I haven't yet explored living, is Brazil. I have not been to Florianopolis, which is in south of Brazil, in the state of Santa Catarina. I've done a lot of Brazil traveling, but as I told you, tourism is great, and it just doesn't cut it for me. Like, I do speak the language as well, but I like to really get like the juiciness of the culture, and that happens in time. So yeah, maybe Florianopolis.
Absolutely. What's the biggest piece of advice for people that are interested in living this nomadic life?
It takes courage. That would be the advice. And if you listen to that calling, that it's a whispering. It's something that doesn't just go away. You can have a great job and have a great salary, but if you have that calling in your heart, like, what if what if I take the leap of faith? And taking that leap of faith opens up a huge dimension, and it can be challenging at times as well, because I think that it's easy to romanticize the idea of like, oh, I want to live in Bali. I've lived in Bali. It also rains in Bali. It also is chaotic in Bali, and it's part of the whole experience. So it's not like, oh, the grass is greener, and when I leave this shitty job or when I no longer blah, 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 you're going to have challenges no matter what. So you need to have the conviction in order to find that courage within to follow the whisperings of your heart and to live the duality that it is to be in heaven and also be like, I can't speak the language. They don't understand me. Like, okay, shadow and light every time, everywhere, always.
Yeah, you have to learn to love both sides of that, right?
Yeah.
It's not always what it looks like on Instagram.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the more that you drop the resistance to that, the more you're going to have so much fun. Because if you have the resistance, you're going to think this is wrong, this is not how it should go, and the shoulds show up. The should. And then what? And then you look back and you're like, well, this is what I designed. I wanted this. I manifested living in Bali. And then you find yourself in Bali being all super sour and upset. You're like, no, make yourself accountable for what you wished for 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, you are now living that, and make the best of it now. Right? So it's always going to shape you and teach you and help you expand.
For sure. Anything else you'd like to add or share?
Yeah, do shadow work. I've seen transformations of so many clients that I've worked with, and because I've traveled the world, I've had clients from all over the world. Like, I don't know, the most exotic places. I've had clients from Brunei, from Singapore, from a guy that I met in Medellin while traveling, that we met at a rooftop, and he's from Netherlands. He's like, I've been, like, manifesting is the word, he didn't even know it. He's like, I've been wanting to find someone like you because I've been going to my therapist, like a psychologist, and it just doesn't work for me, and da-da-da. So if you have the opportunity, I would say, dive into this, which is getting to know yourself deeper, especially the shadow part, the shadows.
And where can people find you if they're interested in your coaching, if they like anything that they've heard so far, anything you want to promote or share?
So the avenue and my channel, I guess my voice, is through Instagram. I've tried TikTok, not a TikToker. So Instagram is at oliviamercado.coaching, and I do share quite a lot of content there. I'm very authentic, so you'll see me sometimes in a bikini on a beach, and you're also going to see me sharing about my own emotions and also sharing about client wins. And so it's very raw and very real, and if it clicks and if you find that it resonates with you, well, welcome to my universe. This is what I do, and I love what I do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Olivia, for taking the time. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you.
My pleasure. Thank you.